Um copinho. Ótimo.
It seems alcohol, this.
Yeah. Welcome back to this black box, safe and and familiar room. We are coming to the end of this conference. Now we are beginning the closing session, and it is my pleasure to present a short farewell video from Professor Tang Shuang, Director of the International Affairs Office of Guangzhou University, that, as you know, they take part of this Congress. So it's a short video, and then we'll proceed.
Dear distinguished guests and colleagues, I'm honored to have this opportunity to address this closing ceremony of the conference jointly organized by the Center for Social Study of University of Coimbra, University of the Azores, and the Observatory of the Tourism of the Azores. On behalf of Guangzhou University and the Secretariat Office of the Alliance of Guangzhou International Sister City Universities, GISU, which are two of the co-organizers, thank you for your participation and contributions to the success of this conference. I would particularly like to extend my gratitude to members of the scientific and organizing committee. Their hard work and devotion have made this conference a great success. We face unseen global challenges and encounter serious challenges like the COVID-19 pandemic. It is the right time to gather for discussion and solutions. Those solutions need to help our world economy and provide vitality to the tourism industry. It is also the right time for joint efforts to advance the world tourism industry. This is done through collaborating, learning, and sharing a valuable and practical experience. With this understanding, this conference presents a great opportunity to achieve a common goal. Guangzhou University, as the flagship university of the city of Guangzhou, is a comprehensive Tier 1 level university. Our university is being developed under the support of the government of both the Guangdong province and Guangzhou city. Guangzhou University in 2018 took the new and exciting step of forming GISU. GISU was established to become an ideal model of international collaborating among universities serving the communities. GISU attracts and leverages the academical resource of its members in close coordination for the sustainable development of its cities. Our mission is to enhance mutual understanding and innovation between Guangzhou and its sister cities. This year's conference is a vivid example showcasing the dedication of all alliance. Last night, we had a wonderful concurrent section themed China's exploration and practice of tourism revitalization after the epidemic. This section was organized by the School of Management of Guangzhou University under the support of the organizing committee. Keynote speakers and roundtable guests from universities and industry from Portugal, Canada, France, China, as well as the Macau SAR of China, and our GISU members throughout the world attending on-site and online. Participants shared the research findings. Business and real-life cases were also presented and shared for the better development of revitalizing our world and local economy through creative tourism. Thank you again for making this conference a great success. We look forward to sharing more cases from China and hopefully inviting you to somebody visit us here in Guangzhou. We wish you the very best. Thank you.
So, after these 3 intense days of presentations and online sessions, we are for sure enriched with new ideas, with new concepts, and some concerns also. I cannot address all the topics that were explored from the Tourism Living Laboratory in Australia, focusing in the intelligence, Diane, intelligence of the experiences to the several forms of regenerative tourism, the tourism dynamics, in comparative analysis or in study cases approach. We heard about the creative projects and Zorian pilots. Some of them are here, still here. Hello. From the Creatura Azores. We learned about the COVID pandemic and the impacts of that pandemic for the tourism and the necessity, the needs for create new models for tourism and many other topics. So now we have some time to this round table, and I will ask each one of my colleagues here in the table to speak a little bit about 3 topics that strike you during the conference, and some ideas, some next steps that you think are important to take at home. Maybe Diane.
Thanks. Awesome, thank you. I think it's been a fabulous conference in terms of the the cognitive diversity, but also the felt experience, the wisdom that's been on display over the last few days. So for me, I've really, this is a space that we really need to uphold and to continue to nourish. And in the presentation that I gave, at the beginning, it was about really trying to nourish and illuminate the wonderful work that's going on, particularly with the projects and how those can actually be upheld and continue to be upheld and developed as experiments that we can learn from. So for me, it was really about both the sort of cognitive diversity and the diversity of all the experience, but also the experimentation and that willingness, the trust, the courage to step into doing things in new and different ways. And then the final thing, and I think that's the thing that I'm most passionate about and that I spent a lot of time talking to other people about, was the mindset shift that we need. And I see, I'm really, really excited about this paradigm shift that I can see is happening in small and big ways, where people are really starting to connect with head, heart and gut and bring in felt experience, bring in our other kind of wisdom. And I see that we've got to really engage in that, and not just kind of pack it down and kind of leave it at a subconscious level, but bring it up and talk about it and be really positive in the way that we engage other people in this journey of changing the way that we do tourism, so that it brings positive community benefits, positive nature-based benefits, and positive place-based benefits. So for me, regeneration is all about those three dimensions. So I think I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony on your experience in community-based experience. It's very inspiring. So please. Giovanni? Okay. So please, Giovanni.
Okay, thank you. Of course, it's when we met in an island, when Ellen's conference. I know this is every time a nice experience of meet people and start new project, new ideas for the future. Of course, we do this. This is our job: work for the future and prepare it. Not waiting, but we have this responsibility to prepare. This conference gave us, first of all, I learned a lot, really, because we study our subject, and sometimes we didn't look at the other things or aspects from economics, sociology, archaeology, and others. It was very rich. And this is why it's so interesting, tourism, also for travel, but also for research and for, open mind. We are totally open mind. So all this contribution, innovation, or others help us to remember us that we cannot look only at one aspect, because we can we generate negative consequence on the other aspects. And in the total balance will be negative. So this is very important. We cannot work on our field. Imagine economics as me, economics, only economics, numbers, money, and that's it. So it's a limitation. What about this conference? If I to say to my colleagues, of course, when I say to my colleagues, I went to Azores for a conference, and the answer is, you are very lucky, okay? Because, they are beautiful islands, we know. So, creative and regenerative tourism. This title is very interesting because move us forward. Because we should know that there is an old tourism and a new tourism. And also the COVID-19 lesson is that things will change. And they were not as before. This is important, because if we start again as before, we didn't learn any lesson. Okay, so this is for me, it's very important. So this conference, regenerative, what I get from this conference, regenerative tourism, and resilience, it means, okay, the old model, we have to modify, we have to be resilient, but we have to change things and others. So the community-based tourism, the innovation, to be creative, it means we need new models. And new models, new ideas, and start from now, not wait from now. So the innovation, the creativity, maintaining the authenticity, take care. This is very important. The creativity, to be new, to renovate the product, is the best message we can give to the old tourism. Okay, so to be creative for me will be create new products. And when we have in a place only one product, we have seasonality, of course. When we create more products, different products, we can increase the value of the destination. So creative is an imperative, as innovative, as, because we have to give a contribution for the increase of the value of this big I don't say industry, big sectors, okay, where we are involved in as researchers. So we have these responsibilities the next years, and we will be responsible also if we get or if we don't drive in the right directions in the future for, of course, the sustainability. Thanks a lot, Carlos, first of all, and to the colleagues for the lesson I received and a lot of stimuli I have. I have to start with a lot of research now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Giovanni, for your enthusiastic vision about these new models and innovative and creative ways of leading with this complex phenomenon that is tourism. And now I will give the word to Nancy.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll get as close as it comes. We're going to say thank you at the end, but I have to really thank everyone who participated for the nourishment, I guess, and encouragement that we're on the right track here. Over the last few years, we've done a series of conferences on creative tourism and publications, as some of you know, to try to clarify the concept, to expand the concept, and to expand practice, and to connect researchers and practitioners and develop spaces of co-learning and co-knowledge exchange that are equal and informative for all involved. In titling this conference, Creative Tourism, Regenerative Development, and Destination Resilience, we thought was a really ambitious challenge for ourselves and for those who responded, to try to take it up a notch and move it forward and think about, okay, so what is valuable about these small-scale creative tourism experiences where people get to make the connections, be people to people, in a way that can benefit the communities where this tourism culture mix occur. And the conversations here have been wonderful to re-engage, re-energize this as something that's real and vibrant. And I made way too many notes and haven't had a chance to go through them today. But I know that I have at least 10 places where I've written down people that came up in conversation. People are central. Community is central. Connections are central. It's not a tourism industry we're talking about. It's a community-based, community-led, a phenomenon of connection in a new era, as Giovanni said. And I think this is really important because we've heard lately about revenge travel, where people are just traveling because they can again, and it's really disappointing that there hasn't been more learning that came out of the COVID ongoing situation. But maybe there are glimmers of hope in this room that can help articulate ways and pathways forward. Other things that came up repeatedly, for me anyway, as I listened, was the importance of knowledge exchanges and co-learning. I hate co-things, but and the idea of multiple knowledges, multiple perspectives, bringing them together, and actually listening to. We had very different types of research presented here. From very different traditions, and taking glimmers from them to help to inform how the world is changing from an old model to something that's incrementally finding its feet or growing. I'm thinking plants and roots and things like this going forward. We heard about to be local will be the future, new direction is community-based tourism, et cetera, et cetera. And I think in those knowledge exchanges, it's between different disciplines of researchers as well as with practitioners, as we were all inspired and have continually to be inspired, as well as policymakers. And that's probably the piece that we didn't quite get in here, but maybe it's other venues that you corner them and have conversations and bring. I realize that we have to write a report from this conference, so maybe it's one of those things that the points we want to make that will then go to the government can be highlighted in those actions. Just almost, won't go too much longer. I think there is some really insightful questions that also came up from the audience, which were answered more or less in different contexts. And I think Larissa brought up a question early on, I did write it down, about power imbalances, and to really think about this industry, this powerful tourism industry that of course wants to get going like they were before, and community-based entrepreneurs that are trying to have a foothold, and how those might collaborate, but also to be aware of the vulnerability of this new type of activity that's emerging, and to keep that in mind. And I guess the other re-emerging theme that came up for me was the question, which type of tourism do you want? And who decides? And how do we plan for what we decide? And how is this decided? And how can the local community have a central role in this process? And it was nice to have it repeated a few places in different phrasings through the conference. And I think as part of that, on an operational notice, that's more of a governance kind of community engagement piece, but the importance of social enterprises, or these kind of not purely commercial enterprises, and how we didn't hear that much about them here, how these different models might be part of the answer going further. So it's a business, but it's also to give back to the community and to work with the community or communities and in networks and other sort of collaborative arrangements, which is often a new thing for people to learn. And I think that's enough for me for now. But and I guess from this morning, it was about reminding ourselves, not tourists, they're travelers, and people bring things with them, and to value the people that are visiting, and perhaps creative tourism is in the way that we have worked on it, is a way of human connections, being creative together, being immersed in a community and learning from each other in a way that respects the people that live in a place and the people who are visiting, and allow them to make those connections. We didn't have as many creative activities here as we would have liked, but I think we had a little microcosm of that at the conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy, for your vision. You put together a lot of different aspects, and very important, and to look always forward than the simple commercial enterprise process. So it's a very important thing when we talk about help the communities and get these communities involved in all process, because the results are for them afterward. So now I have the pleasure to give word to Carlos Santos.
I agree with all that has been said so far, and I think it was a very rich contribution from all of you, coming from different parts of the world with different backgrounds, and some thoughts kept in my mind about your presentations and your debates. And mainly I would just underline the challenges which are faced by tourism in small islands, trying to find solutions for small tourism firms, viability and growth based on networking, when they are competing with big international tourism companies based in economies of scale, standardization of their product, and lower quality. The transition, another point of view which was discussed here, was the transition from an industrial tourism approach to a community-based model, implying an approach linked to socialization economy, to co-creation economy, and to sharing economy. It was a very rich contribution coming from the different points of view in a multidisciplinary approach to tourism. And I think that we should go on moving together in improving the discussion about these topics that have been presented here. And now we are facing a new challenge on doing research about the reality. And the reality now, it's really hard. We have a war in Ukraine, and we also have a problem with maybe economic crisis that is reaching us soon. So, thank you for your contribution again.
Thank you, all of you. And of course, to set up an event like this, there is a lot of people involved. Yes, I know. And I don't want to forget, not for a moment, all the presenters here in person and online, and more important, all the audience, all the people that are here. You are still here, and and you are a very important part of this conference, or any conference, because it's for exchange ideas and perspectives that we set up this kind of event. So now I challenge you to make your final remarks or any comments, any ideas for the next steps that you can think about in this moment for the future. Please be, the word is on your side.
Hello, Terry Costa, Miditec Arts. Thank you very much for this. It was a first time for me, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed meeting people, and that's why I have two challenges that I pass on to you. The professors, the researchers, the writers. When you write your reports, take it outside the educational system, the academia. And make sure it does reach the people. Because if we're talking about the people and everything is about the community, so should be your work. I know it's not always easy, but let's make sure we use all the venues here and that the information does go out and it does reach, the people that will actually help even more. And for the ones that were here, I'm part of a project. There's a few of us here, part of the project. I think that the best response is that when you get home, no matter where home is, that you connect with us again. Because you either took our information or you found it online. Connect somehow with us. So thank you very much for all your words and encouragement. And let's make sure it doesn't end here for the Azores.
For sure.
Já posso falar? Hello. We have to speak in English still? Okay, anyway. I want to thank you very much for this experience with creative tourism. I learned quite a lot, and it was good for my workshop. There was one, now I have three, and I will have another fourth one, and maybe some other workshops of maybe tea that they asked me for the first time, or olive oil, that was somebody talk about the olive oil, yeah? And there's a farm here that does a little bit of olive oil here too in São Miguel. So this is a never-ending story. So thank you very much for all contribution that you gave to me, and I stay here much more richer now.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Pedro. Anyone else? No. Okay, you. Go ahead.
Next time, yes, next time, Carlos will not invite me. Anyway, I would like to say this. This is the first time that I take part at the conference where Carlos, this is a very clever idea, put together projects and scientific, articles and research. Because sometimes we don't meet together, these two communities, no? The project try to get from research and to apply, and we try to generate ideas. So I think this is a good way to share European projects, local projects with research with the future. This is a very good partnership. This is a very new of these conferences. And if I can give as an idea for another conference, of course, this is a mixed way from online and offline. Is also a good way to have a lot of other people that could attend the conference mixed. But I think that to be in person is very important because we start new cooperation. So keep, of course, this idea. And also the future, another idea of tourism, we can propose, a new kind of tourism for the future. The creative it's one. But also we have a lot of kind of tourism, as you know, that we don't know. So, and there are a lot of people from the other sectors. This is the idea. The other approach that works on tourism. Medical tourism, for example, yellow tourism connected with the law, the difference in the law, the law system. There is toxic tourism as well in the US. They have a lot of examples. Dark tourism. So we have a lot of kind of tourism, that are very interesting. And this could be a good idea because just to open our mind to the future and what the travelers, are looking for. So I don't know if it could be done in one conference, but, could be. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Please.
Yes, I just wanted to ask the panel, all of you, after these 3 days, and we've been discussing opportunities mainly in creative tourism and the ways to approach the development of something that we would call regenerative tourism and then resilience in the wake of the pandemic. But I would like to ask you, maybe building upon the discussion of the last 3 days, what would you say was the biggest challenge because now I come from a country which is characterized by very small communities. A 1,500 person town is considered fairly large. I know that is the case for Diane Dredge in the place where she is working, and I assume that is the case often here in the Azores. So what would you say would be the biggest challenge to build up within small communities like that, focusing on those, because they are often very dependent on tourism. There are lots of opportunities for them, and there's one thing that tourism has that other industries don't have. You can't really move the mountain, so you can't actually move the products anywhere else except through virtual reality. So thank you.
Very pertinent and very difficult question. I don't know who wants to. Yeah, Diane.
Thank you for that question. I'm a huge believer in the power of design thinking, and one of the basic principles of design thinking is that the solutions exist in the communities that you work with, and it's a matter of empowering them to bring those solutions and those creative ideas forward. And that to me comes through by curating or holding space for really good conversations. And the challenge of good conversations in communities is that it takes time. Not everybody is ready to speak at exactly the same time, to speak in the same room together. It takes time to actually get people thinking and confident and creative enough to have those conversations. But once you start to get that momentum going, it's incredibly powerful. And you start to get people who will invite you into your home, into their homes, and people who don't speak to each other start to speak to each other. And I think it takes time. And for me, I think one of the real challenges is that when we're doing projects that have a start and a finish, that's when you run into this problem that, you know, you're just starting to get the momentum going and, oh, you've got to write a report and move on. So from the very beginning, we also have to start thinking about what comes next. So I know I've kind of over-answered that question, but I feel so passionate about the fact that we really need to get the communities co-creating, communities and social enterprise, different kinds of operators to really try to identify their own solutions and nurture those. And I'll just say one other thing. The role of researchers should not be to give the solutions or to research what they think the problem is. And I think it's really incumbent on researchers to really be in listening mode, not in I've got the solution for you mode.
Can I? Can I leave my role of moderator and ask a question to? It's very inspiring, this belief in the design thinking, is it? But the problem is how people can get the power to change really in the field. How the politicians, how the system can open space for these ideas, for these new implemented ideas. I don't know if the question is only for you, but
yeah, I'm happy to just say something really short. The challenge is to work both with the communities. It's a multi-scalar approach we need. We need to work with the communities and with the operators, but also not think of just the policymakers as the people that you need to speak to every so often or need to make a report to, but in the way that we work, we are constantly, almost every week or every couple of weeks, updating and inviting the politicians and the policymakers along. And we find who are the policymakers that really have the skills to make the change, and we'll really make good friends with them. Mm-hmm. So it is something that has to happen from the beginning of the project right through to the end of the project.
Thank you. Nancy, do you want to add?
Yeah, I'm going to just change gears a little bit because there's nothing else I can add to this informed response. But I think at a different level, operationally, I think one of the biggest challenges to find the way in which these fantastic new ideas can be sustainable over time and enmeshed in the communities. And I think, of course, time keeps coming up because of these limited projects. We know that it takes time to develop ideas and to try them out and to evolve them. And we also have seen that even this, what seemed like a small project, ends up being involving a wide network of different individuals and organizations and people that bring different skills and competencies and resources to the table to enable something to happen. And I think what's happened so far in the pilot projects, not only here but on the mainland, they are pilot projects. And to make them, to be able to scale them, or whatever the right word is, to beyond pilot projects to something ongoing, I think I wrote down the word intermesh. It's something community-based that has to have that larger support. We also have looked at the different models of creative tourism and have come to the conclusion that it's not something you'd want to rely on for your mortgage on creative tourism revenues coming in at this moment, but it's a really valuable way to diversify what you're interested and passionate in among a constellation of other activities that you have devoted yourself to going forward. And I think it's that constellation of related activities enmeshed in a community that can help make it more than individual initiatives here and there, but community, not driven, but somehow more enrooted in a wider range of people where there's more people who are maybe dependent, but also energies are going to go forward. And I think the flip side of that is to know that you're not alone, so that when you are advancing practice, that there is a larger network of other folks that are also doing perhaps something different, but might have probably have similar challenges, and that you are not alone, and that you can inform others with your challenges, and they can help you, and hopefully also these broader networks evolve. How that all happens is something that takes more time, and we're hopefully in the process of helping that along, but of course the energies are really on the ground. Researchers are in listening mode, at least some of us, and learning mode, and hoping to be helpful by perhaps bringing examples from other places and articulating what we observe and reflecting things back. But I think it really is these, and maybe smaller communities, although there are also entrenched challenges within smaller communities, might be the place where interesting, well, we mentioned the word authentic a number of times, but experiments can happen that bring together different players from completely different fields, because you need different types of dimensions to make an activity happen. And activities don't have to happen like the same activity all the time, and it's that evolving nature of creative tourism that's interesting. But now I'm going on too long, so. But I think it's that challenge to enroot these initiatives within their communities and with each other, to create some sort of a mesh that helps it all become sustainable over time.
Thank you. I think we have time for just one more. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to talk about the power and public policies. That I agree with Diane, that we need to work with the community, empower the community multi-level, and it takes time. It's not one day to another. It takes time to the community believe that they have power to fight for their space in politicians. No one that is in power will open space for the community if the community doesn't fight for it. So it's important that the community feel empowered enough to go there, to reach a seat on boards, on councils, and it's not easy. Many times we get tired about it, but in my experience, it's the only way of transform realities. We need to occupy the power, the politics space. We need to be in the boards of governance, in the places for the decision. We need we as community need to be decision maker. We need to be there, saying what we want. And it's not only being as an audience. We need to occupy the place of power, of decision. So it's not easy. We don't have a recipe, but we have examples that it works.
Thank you. Thank you. So, as I said before, to set up an organization like this, there is a lot of people that we want to thank. And I ask Carlos to tell about the sponsors and the institutional thanks about this conference.
Well, thank you. This conference could never have been possible without the sponsoring of several different entities from the region, from the Azores, and from elsewhere. First of all, I would like to thank, of course, the regional government of the Azores for making it possible to draw the logistics and help to put up this project of this conference. I would like to thank also the archipelago, which this is a very special place. I chose it for the conference because it hosts many creative events here, and it was a renovated old factory building, so it has an historical background, and so I decided to choose this. I also decided to choose to hold the conference in Ribeira Grande and not in the capital of Ponta Delgada, because I believe that decentralization is a good thing to do. So I think that we should spread these type of events across the island and in the different islands of the archipelago, and not stay always concentrated in the main city of São Miguel. I would like also to thank the support brought about Creatur and Serge from the University of Coimbra. They have been our guides in this difficult journey. We could never make it without them. They have the expertise, and they launched the creative tourism in the map in Portugal. They were the first to introduce this topic in Portugal. They were very successful in the huge project running from north to south of Portugal, and now we had their help in putting this project in an island context, make it successful. Thank you so much. I would also like to mention the support by some of the entities that welcomed, like the tea factories. We are in a region of the island, a part of the island where tea cultivation takes place and the tea culture takes place. And so we have two very important factories, tea factories, and they joined our project. They supported our project. And we really appreciate that. I also would like, of course, the University of the Azores. We are partners. The conference is organized in collaboration not only with the University of the Azores, but with the Gaspar Frutuoso Foundation, which is a foundation from the University of the Azores. I would like to thank also the well, you let me know if I forgot something, but I also would like to thank the support provided by the Guangzhou University Alliance, Sister Alliance, Jizu Alliance, who really supported not only in helping us with logistics and transmission of this conference, online transmission of this conference, but also by giving more visibility and an international audience for the participants in this conference. So thank you very much also. But I would not like to finish this, thanking to all these entities without mentioning that we also had a huge support provided by our pilots and associated projects who faced so many difficulties during the COVID pandemic, but never gave up the project, giving their best, and now they are the best ambassadors of Creator Azores projects, both in Portugal and abroad. Thank you, pilots. And last but not the least, last but not the least, the support about a team of researchers with their knowledge in specific fields of expertise. Finally, the support by all of you coming to the Azores and dedicating your scarce time to contribute to the success of this conference. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah. Final word for you.
Oh, final words. So here between me and freedom. So, okay. I mentioned people earlier, and I apologize in advance if I will miss anyone. And I guess I want to not repeat what was said, but thank this conference in particular was an array of partnerships that came together so that we have the Creator Azores project team involving the Observatory for Tourism of the Azores and the University of the Azores and the Center for Social Studies at the University of Coimbra. The University of Coimbra is a member of the Jisu Alliance, a founding member of the Jisu Alliance, the Guangzhou University, which includes a number of universities around the world. And I have to say thank you to them again for their support of this idea of creative tourism and supporting research in this area internationally, experimental research over the last few years. And embracing the topic is something they were really interested in, also finding a way to connect to us despite all the barriers that are being placed in their way at this time. And so we are a hybrid type of activity with multiple rooms, multiple spaces, virtual and here. As you can tell, it was complex to put all these partners and pieces and perspectives together. So I have a small list of thank yous in no particular order because I don't think I thought that far in advance. So we have a team of 5 volunteers who you've seen around the room. And in the back, we have Courtney, Daniela, Leonilde, Margarita, and Eduardo. 4 of which are from the University of the Azores, and Courtney brought herself over from the University of Aveiro to be part of this with you. So thank you, all of you, for all of the things that I don't know what you've been doing, but I know you've been everywhere and making sure everything went smoothly. So thank you. And the organizing committee, which is of these folks and a few others that were joined, that kept things going in different bits and pieces as these kind of events come together. I'm thankful for all the contributions that were made. Of course, the core of the organizing team with me has been Tiago, who you've seen with and Luciano, where is he now? Is he manning the booth out there? Who's been working with us since August. I see you're running. That's good. Yay. And they have been brought over from Coimbra. And so a lot of this, the other thing that should be pointed out is the organization of this event has really been done through Zoom, Skype, emails, and lots of chats. Even in the Azores, there were no face-to-face meetings, and there were lots of cross-Atlantic meetings that happened in the process of this. So I'm thankful for all their patience. And Sonia, who is probably out there as well, bring her in. That walkie-talkie, that's tomorrow. And where is she? Did she come in or she's hiding? I see. Thank you, Sonia, who's been our rock at this end and has come back and forth between Ponta Delgada and here a number of times and have helped stick handle a lot of communications and details and more details. And we made it through, which has been really fantastic to have you with us. And one person who's not here is Inish Costa, who is in Coimbra, who is the person that is in charge of registration and events management sort of at SEJ. So if any of you had any glitches with any registrations or needed certificates, or you'll hear from her after to send receipts and certificates, she's been there every time we asked. The number of emails she's been handling, I can't imagine, but she's also an integral part of our team to make this all possible. And of course, Silver Gray, who has been up there and around and brought all the equipment and making sure that we can be in presence online all at the same time and have multiple spaces and can hear each other, and all of the other technical things that have been overcome to make this possible. They've been very patient as our plans continually evolved, and so thank you guys. And I give. And the flip side of that is the Archipelago staff, who are also around, I know. When we came for a site visit, this room did not have the risers and the chairs, and so this was a wonderful surprise. The flowers, things that showed up that we're not sure where, so it does feel like they wanted us here and they're hosting us, and that's been really quite wonderful. Partners I've mentioned, and of course all of those of you present and those online here or earlier who have been participating and providing presentations and questions and all of the rest. There's a lot more than are in this room that have been participating, so we're very grateful that you responded to our invitation to be challenged, and then I was also reminded that tomorrow there's going to be a walking tour being guided by Walk and Talk Azores, which is one of the preeminent cultural organizations here that have brought artists from around the world to the Azores to be inspired for 10 plus years and want to show you their vision of Ponta Delgada.
Thank you, Walk and Talk. I forgot.
That's okay. And I think other thank yous might also to the, sorry, this is it, I promise, because it was missed. The Camano Municipal of Ribeira Grande, who helped to make it possible for us to be over here and provided the dinner the first night and the breaks and the coffee that have fueled in between the sessions here and have otherwise been welcoming for us to try out other parts of the island. And I hope the bus trips across weren't too onerous. But there's a lot of logistics that became involved when we realized we had to connect different parts in order to enable everyone to stay. I have points on next steps, but that's it.
Okay, so we are done. I think we deserve a big applause, all of. And I hope that you come back again to the Azores.
We also have, just a few points, small points on next steps, because I know there were lots of emails and other things. One is that as part of the agreement with the Jisu Alliance, they want a publication out of this conference. And I don't want to do a plain academic publication, but I do think that the voices and the perspectives and the new thinking that has come out collectively from this conference should be documented in some way that can go forward and make influence in practice, in policy, et cetera, and in academia. So I'll probably be back to you with asking for your suggestions. And for those who may have presented more standard academic research or research that's already been published, so we can't republish it, I'm welcome to ideas about how to highlight, say, 3 things, 5 things that could be useful for practitioners in the research that you're bringing out, so that we develop some kind of a publication that is more than just a collection of essays that go on a shelf, but that can be a tool for moving forward. So that's one item. You've noticed there's a few little things in the program. This booklet, it doesn't matter how many times you check it, it's done quickly. There's a few little things we have to fix, and then the final version will be up on the conference website. We also have an ISBN number for it, so it's a real publication, so if anyone wants to cite it, and that will be made available permanently online. And we know that we've been recording, and thanks to Silver Gray, have been archiving all of the presentations and all of the sessions, both online and in person. So we'll be bringing those all together and archiving them at CES, and we'll let you know when they're ready for your reference. And also, if you are interested in perhaps using a presentation in your own teaching or research or other activities, we can contact the presenter and make it possible. Thank you for signing the consent form so that we could record and also broadcast, and so that this collection of knowledge and wisdom can be made available afterward. I think that's the main next steps.
Very useful.
Is there anything about the tour tomorrow that people have to know? Did you take the microphone?
I don't think I
Capture
need that.
yourself now.
Do you need to repeat again? Okay, so be before 10 o'clock because the walk will start at 10 o'clock sharp at the city gates. It's close to the main cathedral. There's a square with arches around and 3 arches. Those are the city gates.
Of Ponta Delgada.
Yes, of Ponta Delgada, yes, of course, yes. And you will meet Sofia Botelho, right? Yeah.
The sun will rise again, I hope.
Yes, the forecast for tomorrow is much better than today.
I guess that's it. So thank you. You survived.
Shine. Yes.
Well, I didn't have coffee since this morning because I had to walk out watching her bring the coffee over.